WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit. The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
My name is Watson.
And my name is Mariah.
We're 12 years old.
And we're representing Old Redford Academy Middle School. And we're here to talk about drugs. Drugs are very dangerous and unhealthy.
And they can also ruin a relationship with your loved ones. Go talk to a family member, a friend, even a teacher, or you can go to a therapist, or if you need any extra help, you can go online and find all of those.
Hashtag not worth it.
Because we're going to be talking about that hot topic that everybody is really either agreeing with or may have some issues with, and that's the redistricting maps that have been drawn. So everybody had an opportunity to go and chime in on at the public hearings, and now it's a matter of the maps have been drawn, the maps have been laid out, and now we're at a process now to where there are people that aren't too pleased with the way that these maps have been drawn. So there's people that feel like there's at a disadvantage, and then there's some that feel like it's an advantage for them. So that's what we'll talk about in this next half an hour with my two guests, and that's Mr. Ishmael Terry and with Norman Clemens. But before we get started, our show is live. Our call-in numbers are area code 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351, or 313-868-4336. And our website is www.tv33whpr.com. And you are watching us live from the awesome cities of Detroit, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Mike Duggan, as well as the phenomenal city of Highland Park, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Hubert Yap. Okay, let's get started. We have been, for the last year, we have been having forums, there have been hearings, there have been meetings, there's been people getting a chance to make public comment at a variety of different places throughout the state. Based on the census, what happens is that we are in the process of redefining the maps of how the districts are in the state of Michigan. And whereas everyone, that is a voter knows that there were 14 congressional districts in the state of Michigan. And now, with the way that the census, when it took the count of the population, the maps were redrawn. There were public hearings to make decisions about how the maps should look, not just in the congressional, but also in the congressional, we're talking about in D.C., but also here in Lansing for the state. And we've got 83 counties in the state. And all 83 of those counties had an opportunity to go and talk with the redistricting commissioners to see and give public comment and their input about how they felt the maps should be drawn. Recently, the vote was taken, and now they have decided on what map is the map that they want to utilize for, and that's, I believe, for the next 10 years, for the next 10 years. And so the thing is that there are people that are content with the way that the maps are, but there are also people that aren't happy with the way that the maps are drawn as well too. So my special guest today will be talking about that. We're going to chop that up in terms of, say, the districts, how it looks, how it benefits some people, and how it may not be as beneficial to others. But my guests today are Mr. Norman Clement, who is the executive director of an organization called Detroit Change Initiative, and also the CEO of All for One, which is Mr. Ishmael Terry. Norman, are you on the line with us?
Yes, I am. You guys hear me clear?
We can hear you very clear. And Ishmael, thank you for coming into the studio today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's first get into, I've explained pretty much like what the lines are, but let's talk about real quick, Norman, there's a lawsuit out, or there's lawsuits now. Can you go into the detail about what the lawsuits are, why people are unhappy about the way that these lines have been drawn?
Well, the lawsuits is about far as the Civil Rights Act vote and representation on how the maps are drawn for the congressional for the state house map. And so what it does is that people feel that it will eliminate minority representation at the state house. And for that being, they feel is unfair from that vantage, and also that communities of color will not be able to elect representatives that look like them. And that's what it's about. But that's what the process about with that. I have my feelings on it, but people have a right to have a lawsuit on how the maps are drawn.
Well, talk about, Norman, talk about the advantage. So now the lawsuit is out, and basically the lawsuit has up until the time that people have to declare that they are running for the offices of Congress or state rep or whatever the position that they're running for. And that's what, April the 12th?
April 19th.
The 19th?
Yeah.
April 19th.
Okay. So now the thing is that they have to make, so this is going to go to what? To the state Supreme Court?
Yes.
The Michigan Supreme Court.
Okay. And so what happens now? What's happening next? I mean, with this lawsuit now?
I'm not sure what the lawsuit, what they're asking. Are they asking for all of the maps to be drawn, or they might just asking the state house map that to be redrawn?
Just the state.
Now, my understanding is, as we're working on the maps and following the commission and understanding how this works, you can't pick and choose what you want to be redrawn. So if you're going to say the whole process is flawed, then what you're saying is you want the commission to come back, redo all the maps all over again, then go and have public hearings for 45 days, have a map out, and then do all of this by April 19th. That's not happening.
Okay. Ishmael, your thoughts on this?
So, I've been through redistricting 3 times now in my illustrious career in this. And every time we have it, we always have to take it to court. We always got to take it to the Supreme Court justice. Supreme Court justice make sure that it's not gerrymandering or it's no miscues inside of the redistricting. We lost a seat in 2010. 2010. We lost 8 and 10. We lost a seat after redistricting. So basically, what this redistricting allows it to do is to have state legislators, state senators, and so forth, Congress members of Congress, both House and Senate, has to now navigate through the suburban townships and villages instead of having their normal 30 to 40% voting base. They now have to go further north. So some would have to go to Birmingham. Some would have to go to Berkeley. Some would have to go towards Livonia. But the biggest issue that most of the legislators have, both House and Senate, is that the fact that they have to go to Detroit now. You still have to remember Detroit has 675,000 residents. So if 54%, 64%, or 74% come out to vote, that changes the tide in Birmingham. So as people are concerned that there will be a white representation or Middle Eastern representation in some portions of Detroit that doesn't have that kind of population in it, that could be said about those people in Birmingham, Beverly Hills, West Bloomfield, Redford, and other locations that state legislation elections will come in play. So they may have a black legislator representing that. That's what's making everyone fearful. You're asking people who represented, let's say an example, Claire Clements, who represents Melvindale and some other portions, I forgot, other districts. Well, it becomes open. So now when the redistricting comes, it becomes District 3. So you have Far West and Joy Road and going all the way down towards Allen Park and looping around and going into Melvindale. Well, those residents don't see that many Detroiters in that area. So they'll be nervous that you'll have a Detroit representation, a representative coming out of there representing Melvindale. Now they're accustomed to congressional where they have Rashida Tlaib, but they're not accustomed to having their state legislator not being the representation that they're accustomed to. So that's what this argument has always been about. 10 years we have to deal with it. And usually it's by who owns the party. And what I mean by that is usually a Republican Party that has control of the state house and the Senate and even the governor. Or vice versa, it's the Democrats that has it. And then they redraw the lines that make sure that their voting blocks continues to stay the cycle that they're normal.
Okay. Now, Norman, I know that we've got right now 14 districts, but we're losing one of the districts.
Correct.
Kind of go into a little bit of detail, Norman, about which district are we losing, who the congressional, talking about in the congressional districts, and who that person is that currently is in that seat. And then now what happens with that person who now is not going to have a district to represent? What happens to her?
Well, it depends. So we live in the 14th district seat. So that means if Rashida or Brenda decides not to run, that means that Rashida could run for the 13th, or whoever could replace Brenda in the 12th. But that also plays a part in, and you look at the maps in District 7, also in District 2, and District 3. So what they did was how the maps are drawn, and what Ishmael was saying is that it breaks the cycle of representatives representing only in their only cycles. That means that they're so used to custom run and during the primary, and then that when we went to the primary, it's like a crowning achievement, and so during the general, they don't have to really run, and they automatically get the seat. And also, they really don't represent the area that they run. They just got there because 15 people run in the primary. What this forces them to do, you have to run and represent the whole district and get stuff done. That means you have to cross 8 miles. You have to cross. Let's go into Melvindale area. So what it does is that you're creating a balance of a political person. You have to be a moderate person to run those seats, and you have to get stuff done.
So in essence, Norman, what you're saying then is that so up until August, even if you win in the primary, you still have work still that you still have to do up until November. You can't just take that as like a coronation that once you win in August that you're automatically going to win in the general election in November as well.
Absolutely. And then what we have to do as some of the people running as a Democratic Party, those who are activists on the ground, we have to make conscious decisions on who we want us to represent who are coming out of our communities that we know that are doing the work and they could go across 8 miles and win in 8 miles, who are doing the work in Royal Oak or in Detroit. Those who are on the ground, not name recognition, those who we know who can win.
So it's not a popularity contest.
No more.
Okay. Ishmael, your thoughts?
So what Norman was saying is true. Now the other part of this is that you might be good in Detroit, but you might not be good in the suburbs. So yes, you might be, I'm a community activist or a parent activist in this area, but you're not one in Melvindale, right? So now you got to come up with a message that is, in lack of a better word, vanilla. You got to be able to have a strong message that puts a vision that what happens in Detroit happens here in this area as well, and what happens in this area too. So now your talking points can't be, I'm keen with this individual, so this person is going to support me, and they're going to give robocalls saying that this is me, this is that, and the third. Well, when you reach out to other areas, like Birmingham, they don't know Sam Riddle, right? Or they don't even listen to him, right? So if you don't know what's the landscape, I'll always tell people this, even when I've been in this for 25, 26 years in political and public service. Knowing your district is knowing you. If you don't know your district or your landscape or your foundation, why run? Because now you're wasting a space where everyone else can go around that one person that does know, that people feel comfortable, as Norman said, that can actually do the work. So while people are wanting to run, and I'm not taking that away from them, democracy is great. We are not in the position to have people learning on the job anymore. That's what this redistricting is about.
Exactly.
You can't just go up to Lansing and be happy that you're making, because I just left, you know that, in 2019 as legislative policy director. You can't go up there and say, I'm just happy to write a bill that got signed in by the governor. But when I go in my district, it looks the same. Now you're going to have to roll up your sleeves and you're going to actually have to do some work. So if you ain't never did that before and you're learning on the job, I don't care if you're in your first term trying to fight to go into your second term. Because remember, you only get 3 terms when you're state rep. Mm-hmm. You get 4 when you're a state senator. But if you ain't, all you doing is just like to take the drive to go to Lansing and look out your window and run to committees and run to caucuses and then talk to here and there associations and all, that is not getting the job done anymore. So I agree with Norm. Now you're going to have people like myself come in. And it's a different animal.
So let me ask this question to both of you too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for congressional districts, you don't have to live in the district that you're seeking.
You have to live in that
I'm
district.
talking about like for in D.C.
Yeah, you still have to live in the district. You still have to live there in the district. You just don't have to live in particular areas. Like state legislations, senators and state reps, you have to live in a particular area.
So let's touch about that. So now with the lines being redrawn,
Yes, sir.
you have state reps that live in a certain neighborhood
Yes, sir.
that now they may not represent
You got it.
that district
Yes, sir.
that they live in.
So they have to look for a new home.
So they're going to have to move
Yes, sir.
to the district
Yes, sir.
that they represent.
Yes, sir. So let me give you a heads up on how this works out, since I'm the veteran here. What happens is that a state legislator or a state senator will redistrict out of the neighborhood, but they want to run anyway. What they will do is, and please, hopefully I'm giving out secrets, a trade secret. They will rent an area or rent a house, right? They will rent a home in the district, the newer district.
So they will still live in their original home, but they may rent
Now
a
you
house.
catching on.
They may rent a house in the district that they want to represent.
Now you're catching on. So instead of me saying that instead of me not living in the district, now I can claim I live in the district
Because you're renting a home.
because I'm renting a home.
in that district.
There's no state law that stipulates that I have to show you that I live in that property. All it shows is that when I file that date, I'm living at X amount of address and at this street. And you can then, if you want to, they have a Detroit Police Department has a special unit that checks and see if you actually live in the district that you claim you live in. But you will have to file that. You will have to make that claim. Then a special police unit will come in that area
To prove that
you live actually in that house.
house.
That you live in the house that you claim that you live in and that you running from that house.
Interesting.
So now people will do that. They're going to do that. State legislators are going to do that. Now the congressional ones, we all know where they live.
Right.
They can't get away from that. So that's why you heard Debbie Dingle say, well, I'll just retire because I'm moved out of my district. She's moved out of District 12. That's
Right.
what's going to
But she's-
happen. Go ahead, Norman.
But she's in District 12.
Yes.
She could actually run in District 5.
Yeah, but that means she would have to get another house. That's why she said on TV. That's why she said on Fox 2. I'm going to have to find another address. I'm going to have to find another house.
Unless she runs in District 6.
Correct. But until she still would have to move because it's still on the outskirts of her home.
So as it stands right now, the thing is that she's currently in District 12.
Correct.
But now, so who then, if she moves out, that means what? District 12 is wide open for anybody to run?
Well, no, because District 12 is moved.
Yeah, it just moved
Well,
over. So that current congressional representation is now that representative of that area.
So who then represents the majority of the cities that's in that district in 12?
And 12,
Right.
the 12 is Dearborn Heights,
Yeah, Dearborn
Garden
Heights
City,
and yeah, so
Westland, Eastern, Greenfield Village,
yeah.
Dearborn.
Well, now Greenfield Village now, because Greenfield Village now has moved to District 3.
12.
No.
No,
I'm
12.
saying state legislation wise, it's moved to District 3.
District 3, you're absolutely correct.
Congressionally wise, it's still the same district.
Okay.
Right.
So that means she's there until January.
Okay. But so now the thing is that there are then for Brenda Lawrence,
Yeah.
who represents up until this comes into effect,
Yes.
represents District 14.
Correct.
Rashida Tlaib represents District 13.
Correct.
So now Detroit is going to be all inclusive of District, is that 13?
Yes.
13.
Okay, so then that means then that Brenda Lawrence has got to make a decision about whether or not if she's going to either retire or if she's going to run against Rashida to represent District 13.
You got it. So
Since
that may
District
be a
14
possibility.
is eliminated.
Correct.
And what's the name of that map?
So you
That
have.
map is called.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The map is called Chestnut.
There you go.
Okay. And so we got a couple minutes left. Norman, any final comment that you'd like to make? And then I'll ask Ishmael if we've got time left.
Yeah. So just wanted to make sure, like with the Chestnut map, we picked up 3 seats. If things that people run where they run, it's 7 Democrats, 6 Republicans.
Okay.
So that's the thing about Chestnut. But one more thing is that we have an opportunity to really get down and get people who truly invested in the community, are doing service and work, to run for office.
Okay, Ishmael.
And it's not lose sight of that.
Okay, Ishmael.
Um,
Final comment. We got a minute left.
Got you. So I implore people to not just understand what the map is and not understanding what redistricting is, but understand what your district is like. Because now you're going to represent groups of people that don't even look like you, walk like you, and talk like you. And that's going to be the deciding factor of who we want to come in. Norm, you can give me a call.
Definitely.
All right? So you know your big brother's coming.
So, Norm, if somebody wants to ask more questions about the Detroit Initiative, Change Initiative, give your contact information real quick.
Yeah, you can give us, reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, email. You can hear us on the website. It's at www.dcimovement.org.
Okay. And Ishmael, if they'd like to get in contact with you, with All for One,
Or Pleasant Heights
Or Pleasant
Economic.
Heights, right.
Yeah, because we do development projects too. So they can contact our office at 313-378-8474. Or they can go into allforOneDetroit.org and they can get a hold of us as well.
So the main thing that we want to let everybody know is that regardless of where the lines are, regardless of where you may fit in terms of, say, in your residence in those boundaries, the important part, more than anything else that I believe my guests would agree with me on, is to vote. Regardless of anything else, whether or not if you don't like the way the lines are, the way that you don't like the person that's in the office or that might be representing you, or if you do like the person, make certain that you do voice your opinion in August as well as in November. And there's not a coordination now that people sometimes feel that they may not have to do the work to get the seat come November if they win in August. The work is still going to be conducted from August all the way up until November, whatever date that general election is going to be held on. So again, you've been looking at Expose Under the Sun. My special guest today, Ishmael Terry, Norman Clement, and we want to make certain too that if you are involved in the lawsuit, make certain that you understand all the details, all the parameters about what the lawsuit is entailing, and understand, just as Ishmael and just as Norman was saying, they've got up until April the 19th, because at that date, that's when the official, if I'm not mistaken, Ishmael, that's when those official lines are drawn, the ballots are already then put in place, so that these are the people that are actually going to be running, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, can I say one thing too?
Go ahead, real quick.
You're going to have state legislators and state senators running against each other. That's the reason why we're also having this suit, because some state legislators are their first term, so they're going to end up battling each other. So they'll lose out one. We'll lose one state legislator that way as well.
Okay. Well, again, thank you to both Ishmael and to Norman. And you've been watching Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun News. If you'd like to advertise in the Detroit Native Sun newspaper, you can contact Ms. Valerie Lockhart at area code 313-457-5944. And you can pick up a copy of the Detroit Native Sun newspaper at many of your local supermarkets, banks, organizations throughout the entire metropolitan Detroit area. Again, have a great and safe afternoon. And again, to everyone, please enjoy this new year. And those that may be still stricken with COVID, I pray that you get well, stay healthy, and again, stay masked up and keep your distance from people so that we can make certain that we put this, hopefully 2020 will be the end of this pandemic. Have a great rest of the afternoon.